Let's be honest, AI has freaked a lot of designers out. Some people think it's coming for their jobs, others don't even know where to start using it.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I'm sorry.
But here's the truth, the designers who learn how to use AI right now are the ones who are going to get ahead. Here's how I actually see it. Designers fall into one of three buckets. Bucket one, the anti-AI crowd. They think it's all hype and want nothing to do with it. Bucket two are the ones who are scared to touch it. They're curious, but they're afraid it's going to replace them. And bucket three are for the people that fully embrace AI and they're currently using it in their workflow. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use AI like a pro in an actual workflow, not to replace your creativity, but to amplify it. Today is sponsored by Design.ai. I actually use this tool and I think it's very useful, and you're going to see why in a second. But just know they didn't tell me what to say. They didn't provide a script or give me strict guidelines. They basically just said, hey, make a video, and that's what we're doing here. So if you guys like the tool, definitely check it out. Whenever anyone asks me what AI platform they should start with, I always tell them Design.ai, simply because of how easy it is to use. I mean, it has built-in prompt help. So when you create a prompt, it will actually help you enhance that prompt to get even better results. And it has all of the tools you'll ever need in one platform for one fixed subscription. It's not like other platforms where you need multiple of them to get kind of the tools that you need, right? Think of Design.ai as a handy dandy tool belt for AI. Like, it has everything you need. We're gonna create an actual design today using it, and I wanna show you my exact workflow. Let's get started. I just designed this yesterday. It's on my Instagram if you wanna check it out, at Charlie Pingus. Thought it'd be fun to use Design.ai to recreate it or make something similar. The number one issue I had early on in my career as a designer was finding resources, and I see a lot of designers that are up and coming have the same issue, but you really don't have that problem anymore thanks to Design.ai and other platforms. So anyway, we're going to make a new document because obviously I want to kind of prepare it for design. So we're just going to, I guess, change the width to, let's say, we'll go a little smaller because this is a tutorial, but normally I'd go a little larger than this, but we'll go smaller for now. And we'll do maybe, we'll go 15, why not? The main thing is making sure the resolution is set to 300. That's literally the most crucial thing. And then you could just click the create button, and we already have design ready to go. So once you log in, this is sort of the dashboard. If you click on the left toolbar here where it says AI tools, that's going to show you all the tools that you have available to you. And there's so many cool things, guys. Image to image is a very popular choice. What I want to use today is text to image because I want to start generating some assets that I can use in my design. On the very top, you're going to see Flux Point 1. You want to click on that and you can choose a model that kind of fits your needs. On this one, I'm probably going to try Flux Point 1 first and see how it does. If that doesn't work out, I might try Design Realistic V2 or Nano Banana. There's different use case scenarios for each of these sort of engines, if you will. So try them out and see which one works best for you. You can even kind of do some research on which ones are best for your specific use case scenario. But for this one, I'm gonna try Flux 1 because I already know that it's worked in the past for me. Right here, I'm just going to type in a prompt. And the cool thing is it sort of helps you prompt. So there's a little prompt improver at the bottom and you could toggle that on. So once you're done with your prompt, you can click that or toggle it on, and it's going to help improve your prompt, which is going to obviously yield you better results. For the aspect, I'll choose 3x4. Let's go back to Photoshop for a second because we need to kind of figure out how we can describe this image here. So obviously this looks kind of like a girl or something standing there, and there's like spider legs, right, growing from the back of her back. So obviously that's kind of where we can start with our prompt. So let's go try that out. Growing from her back, she's facing forward toward the camera, cinematic lighting. I'm just doing that because I want the lighting to be really even or not even even, but like dramatic, I guess. That's the best way to describe it, because you don't really want even lighting because then you kind of ruin your contrast. And I guess that's it for now. And then we can try this prompt out, and then we can even try improving it if we want to. Actually, let's just click prompt improver, and that should do a good job of helping us out. AI is a lot like a slot machine. You never know if you're going to win. So this is actually kind of what I was going for. So this is kind of where we can either make variations, we can upscale it, we can do a bunch of stuff. What I want to do is upscale the image so I can use it in Photoshop, obviously. So we're going to click the number 2 here, and that's going to upscale it. I'm probably going to actually, you know what? I'm going to keep it on default for the enhanced type because I don't want it to alter anything weird. And I'm going to keep the strength on smooth. I don't want anything to be overly detailed or anything like that. I don't really need that anyway. And then on the upscale, we could choose how much we want to upscale. So 1.5 times, 2 times, 3 times, all the way to 4 times. On this one, I'll go 2 times, and then we'll go PNG format. And that's pretty much it. Let's upscale and see what it does. When you upscale, it might change things, like your face might like shift a little bit, or something like detail might be lost. Like there's a lot of things that upscaling can do. So be very cautious of that and pay attention to what has changed. Compare both images make sure you're getting what you want. I just downloaded the 2x upscaled image. We're good to go. Now I need the spider web. So if you guys want this prompt, screenshot it, save it for later. And yeah, we're just going to delete it and then start typing in what we want again, right? So this time we just want detailed spider webs on a black background. So back at the design, you can kind of see where I use the spider webs, and they really do add a lot to this design. Without them, it didn't look as cool, trust me. So I definitely think these are a must. All right, awesome. So we do have some spider webs. Now, the one that I like the most is probably this one on the right side here. I think this one's going to work. It's number 3 actually. So we'll click number 3 and look at it. Yeah, this looks good. So we're going to upscale number 3, and then we're going to keep the exact same settings. Everything looks good. We'll do 2x upscale. We probably should have done 3x upscale, but it's fine. So that's upscaling. While it's doing that, we're going to go back here and let's just open up a new tab, and I'm going to try to do some 3D text, and I'm not sure if this is going to work good, but I think it'd be really cool. So we'll go 10 by 10, that's fine. And then I just want to type out bad omens. And actually we'll say Spectre because that's the song name that I made this design for. There you go. And I just want to take a screenshot because I'm going to use this as a reference when I do another prompt. This is a very powerful way of doing it too, because we can use references. Instead of using text to image, which is what we just used, I want to switch it to image because I want to upload that screenshot as a reference. So it will basically help my prompt out, and the prompt will kind of know what I'm looking for. Now that that reference is uploaded, it should do a good job. So we just want to type in a prompt, and I don't know how good this is going to do. I'm not going to lie. So we're just going to see. Out of all of the ones that I generated, I really like this one because it just looks the most realistic. So we're going to download this just so we have it. We're going to be texturing this, so it's not a big deal. We have all of the images that we need to create our design in Photoshop thanks to Design, and it took no time at all. So all we have to do is drag all of our assets into our new document, and as you can see, they're nice and big. They're not tiny little, images that you find on Google and you have to search for, over an hour sometimes to find anything. We just generated them, and again, it doesn't take away the quality of our design just because we used assets that are AI. So now that I have my images laid out, we can name this spider design so we know where that image came from. And then we can put spider web design so we know where that came from. Now all we want to do is invert the background so it's black because my original design is on a black background. And we want to go ahead and remove the background from this spider woman hair, spider girl. And all we have to do is basically click remove background, and it should do a decent job. Sometimes though, it doesn't do a perfect job. As you can see, it kind of missed something right there. If your selection isn't working, sometimes you can just press Command L and change the levels a little bit. And this usually helps. I've had some success with this. It's not perfect though, so we'll just try it out and see what happens. Maybe I'll go a little darker. So we already have that levels adjustment, so I'll click on it and we'll go a little darker and see if that makes a difference. There we go. That's much better. It's not perfect, but I don't even need perfect, honestly. It's fine. So I'll go to my lasso tool and just manually select the rest. It's not that big of a deal. So we have our selection. Now I'm just going to click layer mask on this contextual taskbar. And that is all we need, my friends. And we want to remove the background from this too. So I'll go select subject. Hopefully it doesn't give me a hard time. And it looks pretty good. So I'll add a layer mask to this and it's ready to go. And I'm switching up this design just a little bit for fun. And then on bad omens, we'll just type out something in like a bold font. Let me see if I have something that I already used. Helvetica New, maybe? We'll drag that below everything because I want that actually behind Spectre. And then on Spectre, we're going to change the blend mode to something else, maybe exclusion. Let's try that out. And look at that, guys. It creates this really cool effect. I added my layers palette to the left side. Let me know if you guys like that so you're not breaking your neck every time you need to look at it. We're gonna be doing a lot of masking, so I wanna duplicate the spider girl and we're going to convert this to a smart object so we don't bring that background back because I don't want that to be a part of this design, and that will make sense in a second. We're going to duplicate it now and bring it above everything, and we can actually add a layer mask to this, and I held in Option while I added that, and that basically inverted it automatically. And then on this layer right here, we're going to add a layer mask, and we can just paint out the legs, and that's pretty much it. So I just want these legs painted out kind of like this, and actually we could paint out these ones too because we're gonna bring those back, so I'm not too worried about it. So really that we just want the legs to kind of go behind the E, that's it. And then on this layer right here, we just want to paint back the legs, and that is it. Or the spider legs, I need to be specific. This will give you like a cool 3D effect. Well, I guess the spider leg is technically human because it's attached to a human. I don't know, to be decided, I guess. All right, this one will go under the E, or the S, I mean. What am I talking about? There we go. So So now we have this cool 3D effect. We didn't do much yet, right? Just a little bit of clever blending, and we already made the 3D type in Design. All of the assets were also from Design, so really we didn't have to do too much. It's really that simple, guys. So I just renamed some of my layers, and that looks good to me. Now let's go ahead and start playing with the spider web. So I'll change the blend mode on the spider web to screen. And this one I might just have like behind her instead. I don't know yet. Now I'm not gonna like go into crazy detail on this tutorial just because like it takes obviously more time to create something that's really good, but this just gives you kind of an idea. So that's pretty much it. Now the cool thing about this is we can group everything together now. And then I'm gonna do Shift Command Option E. We're gonna go up to Camera Raw Filter. And we're going to bring out the shadows just a little bit. We just wanna make it look as flat as possible because we're going to use another plugin, which is my plugin called Auto Thresh, and it's going to make this whole design look awesome. So Auto Thresh is right here. I'm not gonna go into detail on how to use Auto Thresh, but it's really easy. You just basically choose a fabric color. I'm choosing dark because that's kind of what we're printing on, right? So if you're on a white or a gray t-shirt, that would be considered light. So you just choose light for that fabric color. So in this case, I'm using dark. And then we just wanna make sure we turn off the top layer for this one. I didn't use a highlight 2. I only used 3 colors. So we just wanna make sure we're doing that. And then for the yellow, I wanna make sure this is white. So we have a nice highlight, and that's pretty much it. I'll keep everything else the same and click apply. And I am selecting my top layer, so it's going to apply it to that. And there you go. That is literally it, guys. It's that freaking simple, man. It's like, it's almost too easy. The design is in a good place, so I'm gonna call it here, but really what I wanted to show you guys today is that you can use Design.ai in a professional merch design workflow, whatever you're doing. If you're a logo designer, if you're a merch designer, doesn't matter. Design.ai can help you. And really what I like to use it for is what you saw today, text to image and image to image, but there are other powerful tools that they offer that you guys can go check out for free today. I want you guys to remember these words. AI won't replace designers who know how to think. It replaces hesitation. If you want to start experimenting with AI in your own work, you could try Design.ai completely free today. I'll leave a link in the description below. Start creating faster. Don't fall behind. My name's Charlie Pangus. I'll see you guys in the next one.